you do with stolen car?
Stolen car. So my first stolen car was, I want to say 2016. We had an Audi A7, and that car got stolen from Target. It was after a rental. We had a rental on Turo, and the dude brought it back. I feel like it was a setup, but either way, it got stolen. Some dudes pulled up in a Porsche, no plates on the Porsche. The only reason we know what happened is because we went inside Target with the cop, and they showed us the cameras of how they stole it or whatever. So I'm gonna break down the whole entire thing. So basically, the dude returned the vehicle, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm about to leave it or whatever. I'm taking the pictures." It looked real obvious on the camera. He was blatantly about to leave the car. He left the keys like inside, all this nonsense or whatever the case may be. I told him not to do that. So either way, long story short, I pull up maybe allegedly 3 minutes after he leaves the car. Their car's already going. We go check the tapes. It showed him taking the pictures of the car, and then somebody pulling up right when he walk away in a Porsche parked right next to it. Within a couple seconds, they popped the car open. So it's like it looked like they got a key or some type of access, and the trunk pop open. They run down, maybe 20 seconds tops. They hop in the car, pull off. Porsche don't got no plates. They leave. They gone. So after that car got stolen, I found out a few lessons in that. So I basically, we called the cops. The cops pulled up. We tried to do a police report. Since it was after a rental, they told me that it was a civil situation, as if the person who I rented it to was the one who stole it. But we explained that we didn't know the people. Long story short, they didn't want to do a police report at first. We ended up getting it done, but it's definitely something. The lesson in is that you don't really need to call the police until after you locate the vehicle. That's why we put at least 2 to 3 trackers in our cars, and we go look for our cars first before we even call the cops, anything like that. It's no point to do nothing to call the cops because they're not gonna stop them. They're not gonna do nothing about it. They're not even gonna go look for it. So the reality behind it is, you go put the trackers in it, you look for it yourself, and then after you can't find it or you do find it. If I find it, clearly we're just gonna go pick it up and take it back, or put our eyes on it and call the police. Or if we can never find it, then we go do a police report, and we do it from the perspective that we don't know who took it. We'll say where it was, and then after that, it could take up to 2 weeks sometimes, depending on who your insurance provider is. But 9 times out of 10, the insurance is going to do an investigation and try to see if they can find it. They're going to check impound lots. They're going to run the VIN number to see if anybody saw the car. 9 times out of 10, if they're not an idiot, they probably took the plate off of it, so there's no way for nobody to run that VIN or anything like that, or unless the car was impounded. Since it's not, it's gone. So once they determine that, what they do is they pretty much ask you for the spare key sometimes, depending on who your insurance provider is. And then what they do is they get the actual cash value of the car, and they give you an offer on a settlement on how much they're going to give you and what the car is worth. A lot of times, if your car had a wrap, it had PPF on it, they'll add up that price as well and throw it on top as well. So like some people don't really know that when an accident happens, not with an accident, but when a car is totaled out, they're supposed to replace all of the stuff that you put into it. So let's say if you put on, like I said, PPF or a wrap or anything like that to protect the car, they not only supposed to pay you for the whole entire amount of the car, what it's worth, but also the stuff you added on to it. So that's the process. You do the insurance claim with the adjuster, they ask for the police report, you give it to them, and then what happens after that is they do that 2 weeks or to 30 days of investigating, and then they pay you out all of the stuff that they think it's worth. And then they either give you a check or they can put it directly into your account. And that's really the process. If it gets stolen, God forbid, it's not really a big deal to people like me, but because I don't want it to get stolen, but 9 times out of 10, with the amount of trackers that I put in it, it won't get stolen. But if it does, it's just part of the game. I mean, it happens. People are thieves, and, your car can get stolen. And long story short, just make sure you do your due diligence. Try to not leave your keys in the car. Try to not, have your car in places where it's high chances of theft, such as like neighborhoods where theft is, something that's popular in that area. Try not to drive and get gas at 2, 3 in the morning. Try to leave your car running when you give gas, and it's probably gonna stop you from having to worry about your car getting taken, because you're taking all those measures that's gonna help you to have best chance of success. But with me, I've had plenty of cars stolen. I haven't had a car stolen probably in the last, I want to say 2, 3 years now. But before we started putting all those trackers in there, we used to have a lot of car theft. But now every single place that our cars move, we know exactly where they are, and we can also disable the engine. And if they take one of the trackers out, we'll know because it won't be reporting. And then we can go ahead and turn on the other trackers and make sure we can find it as quick as possible. And then send the police over there or go pick it up ourselves. So that's pretty much what you got to look out for when it comes to that. Because when I first started, I wish I had somebody to tell me, to make sure you got your own trackers. Because a lot of us depend on like OnStar or whoever the GPS contractor is for the vehicle that you bought and think you can just call a person who sold you the car and find that car, but really that's not the truth. Then the second thing you think about is you can depend on the police to help you find it. They're not going to look for it. I think the best chances of somebody looking for a stolen car is if you live in a small town where it's like a sheriff's, department. I remember in Jasper County, we had a car that was reported stolen. They went out and actually found it and looked for it. But when you're in a city like Atlanta, New York, Philly, LA, those cops, the last thing you're going to see is they'll say, oh yeah, let's go have a lookout for this stranger's car and go find out where it is. They don't give a damn. They're just going to wait till your plate checks off one of their systems. Since all thieves are going to take the plates off, they won't be able to find it. And then what happens is they check impound lots, and after that, you're done. So I wish I knew, what I know now to where I can avoid that, pretty much any theft. Nobody really steals any of my cars at this point. So, hopefully that helped y'all out. For the people who wondered, what that process would look like, hopefully you understand the process now. Clearly you got to have full coverage insurance. Don't try to do any of this stuff with liability insurance. A lot of people don't know the difference between a liability, comprehensive insurance, collision, uninsured motorists. They need to know all of that. But pretty much whenever you go to the big providers like Geico, State Farm, Progressive, if you sign up for full coverage, they're going to automatically opt you in. And unless you're a person who actually adjusts their policies and changes shit, you pretty much going to have all of that type of coverage. So make sure you got full coverage, insurance, and then you ain't got to worry about if your car get taken, they'll just replace it and you go get you another one. Clearly it's going to be a hassle. Another thing that people don't think about when a car gets stolen is when they have your car note. So if you got a car note and you don't own it outright, you are legally responsible to keep paying a car note even though the car has been taken up until the bank pays it off. And if you do pay it an extra payment and then they pay it off, they will reimburse you for any extra money that you just spent. So don't worry about it. Just make sure you keep paying a note so it don't mess up your credit. And that's all you got to pretty much worry about when it comes to car thefts. Like I said, it can happen to anybody. It happened to me. It happened to friends of mine. So just make sure you know what to do in the case of handling that. Don't try to go call the police all quick. Try to go look for it first. After that, if you can't find it, then you do a police report. Make sure it's not nobody, you're not reporting that it's somebody that you know, because when you do report it, not make sure that you don't do it, because if it's somebody you know, it's somebody you know, but if you do it that way, it's civil, so it's harder to get a police report. So make sure, if you're not aware who has your car, then just say you don't know who it is, so that's the easier way to get the insurance claim paid out the fastest. So, if you got any more questions, you know where to find me on the gram, on YouTube, on TikTok, Pushman Mitch.